Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the comments video on the 5th of January, 2024, and we'll open with the weather. It is out here in the desert in Quartzsite, Arizona. It's 43 degrees, about 3 miles outside of town. They're calling for a high of 68 today and a low of 41, and we'll probably hit that. Well, we probably already hit that. Totally sunny skies today, no hint of cloud cover. The next 10 days, we're in the high 60s for the high and 40 to 45 for the low. Mostly sunny days. Yet we have a couple of kind of windy days ahead, unfortunately, that can make things a little difficult. They start on Tuesday. Tuesday, we have 17 mile per hour sustained. Wednesday, again, 17 miles per hour sustained. And let's see, we're again 17 for the next day for Thursday, and then Friday we're back down to sub 10 mile per hour winds. 17 miles per hour, that doesn't seem like a good big deal. It is because the gusts can come up to double the sustained wind speed. So that'd be 34 miles per hour, and if you have stuff that isn't light, that isn't tied down, it can go tumbling across the desert. So be aware of that. Certainly don't have your awnings out, anything like that. So that is the weather. And let's see, let's get into, I have an announcement. How did I forget that? The meetup is planned, and there's a special bonus in this. That my nomadic dream, Herbie and I are going to do it together. So you'll get 2 for 1. My nomadic dream and Herbie and Travels with Dottie with Rob. This will be on the 14th of January at 1 p.m. There's a little covered pavilion adjacent to the dog park in town. So it's pretty easy. Dog park, town. Just put dog park into your GPS and you'll get there. But it's real simple to get there. The easiest way is off Main Street, where you go down past where Coyote Fresh and Family Dollar is. There's the next building is like a gray and red building, which doesn't have a sign on it, I don't think. But the next street, you make a left on that street. As you're making that left, you'll see Discount Solar on your right. You go down there. When you get to the library on your right, start looking on the left for a sign for the dog park. I think it's a quarter of a mile from there or so, but it's all part of the town park, which is actually quite large. And if you're attending the RTR that day, you can walk over and see me from the RTR pretty easily. Just ask somebody, how do I get to the dog park? And they'll tell you where it is. Anyway, that's the big announcement. I'm excited that Herbie's going to join me, and hopefully we have a nice meet and greet with people. All right, so let's get going on. Let's see. All right, Cotty Wample has a couple of comments here. One is something with the cell signal. My phone went to SOS for a few seconds the other day. I thought, oh great, my auto phone payment didn't go through, but it's cleared out pretty quickly. Yeah, that happens. You know, these towers are overloaded this time of year in Quartzsite, and sometimes something reboots in the tower and you lose signal for a couple of minutes. Sometimes, for every once in a while, it's extended, but I don't remember that in the recent past. Another comment, he says, I am so used to listening to the radio. I love music, but with this new channel and possibly to be monetized eventually, I have to keep that in mind now. My other channel can't be monetized because it's recording the music I'm listening to as I played the game and recorded. Always some weird hits for music, like it has restrictions, like can't be played in Kazakhstan or Mongolia, something like that. I wasn't worried about that. Another one for Cottywomple. You know, I'm the guy that will ask, you selected the diesel and used the unleaded hose, or did you select the unleaded and try to use the diesel hose? Really, neither one. That pump wasn't working. I was going to town for my friend who needed her little container filled with diesel for her diesel heater. So I did that for her. And the first pump I tried, it took all the payments and everything. It just wouldn't pump. So I had to go to a different fund. Okay. And there's more coming on this diesel thing that is very annoying to me. You'll see later on. I have that issue with Mickey D's a bit. The app updated and I had to re-up on the app. It's pretty funny because the app gives them my first name and they always say, "Thank you, Mr. Phillip." Okay. Patricia Peters. Hi, Rob. Love your videos. I'm very curious about the vault toilet 500 feet rule. I mean, how far is it really? It's 500 feet, give or take. Can you show us how far 500 feet is from the vault toilet so I can have an idea? Well, I can't really show you. I mean, if you saw me, if I measured out 500 feet somehow and stood there and took a video, you can't tell from the video. You can't translate that distance really to real life. But here's what you can do. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that if you're 600 feet away, the rangers or the camp hosts aren't going to bother you about it because it's close enough. And a football field is 300 feet. So 2 football fields would be 600 feet. So I know you can picture a football field length. Picture double that, right? That big tent thing is 650 feet. It's a long way. It's big. You don't have to be right up on the. I see a little community of like car campers and tent campers kind of surrounding the vault toilet like 50 feet away. You don't need to do that. You don't need to be that close. So 2 football fields. If you want to be totally safe, make it a little bit under 2 football fields and you'll be with that 500 feet. Edward Smith, not an expert, but I accidentally put gas in my diesel truck. The engine would shut off and not start. There was no damage, but $600 to flush the system. And yes, over $200 refill it. So I guess, Edward, you're questioning my thing that saying that you can completely ruin an engine. And I still believe that that's true. If you drive and run that engine any distance and run that diesel or run regular gas through the diesel engine, and I'm not sure if it works vice versa. I'm sure there are plenty of armchair experts out there that can talk about this. Let's all agree that it is bad to put the wrong type of fuel, diesel in a gas engine or gas in a diesel, gas in a diesel engine. It can be disastrous. In the times I've heard where it's been okay is what you described. People realize it at the pump. They get towed away from the pump and a mechanic drains the gas tank. And that drains and maybe cleans the gas tank and then fills it with the proper fuel, and that avoids destroying the vehicle. But I think the example I initially used the other day was friend Danny sold his diesel truck to a guy and he bought it for his son, and he filled it with regular gas and drove it for an hour, ignoring the rough riding, and it did destroy the engine. It wasn't possible to recover it. But that's anecdotal. I get that. It didn't happen to me. I didn't see it. I heard it from Denny, who heard it from the guy. Maybe it's not true, but I think it's probably true. All right. ARZOE225. Happy New Year. I'm a new subscriber. Question: are you experiencing problems with rodents getting into your vehicle engine area? I worry about taking my vehicles in a remote desert for fear of having wires damaged. Well, I haven't had any rodent problems here in 4 years of coming to Quartzsite. However, I had rodent damage in my truck this summer up in Eagle Nest, New Mexico. I was parked, for a couple of months in a meadow by the lake, and luckily it only cost me a couple $100 to get that fixed. I got lucky. So I've done a little bit of research. There's lots of information online on what deterrents work: lights, noise, leaving the hood up, blah blah blah. And the one that seemed the oddest to me was let me pull it up real quick. hang on. I'm going to pull up what I purchased, and I'm going to tell you why I purchased it. And I'm starting to use it here, not because I'm afraid here. It's because I wanted to be ready for this summer. Let's see, where is it? Where is it? Be patient, sip your coffee, relax, give me a minute. Let me try to find this. Why isn't it showing up right away? Because it wasn't that long ago. Okay, peppermint oil. So I bought, okay. So I bought peppermint pest control balls for inside the compartments in the trailer, and I bought I'm so sorry, I lost it again, and it's important that I think it's important that you know what I did. Let's see, it is peppermint oil to repel mice. These little canisters with that you can put in your engine compartment. So I put a couple of them in my engine compartment, put the balls in the pass-throughs where mice can get in. Like I said, I haven't had a problem here. I think if you park far enough from vegetation, the mice don't come out this far. I think. I don't know. Okay. What was I going to say about why I picked peppermint? Because of all the solutions I heard, it seemed to me the most dubious. It's like, peppermint, come on, that doesn't make any sense. And people would say, hey, it worked for me, but they wouldn't say how they know it worked, right? So let's just say I put all this peppermint stuff in, and I say at the end, hey, I put this stuff in and I didn't have any rodent problems at the end of the season. What does that prove? All it proves is I didn't have rodent problems. It doesn't prove any connection between the peppermint oil and the fact that I didn't have rodents, right? That makes total sense. And that is the problem I was experiencing trying to research what to do to mitigate until I saw this guy's YouTube video. And he was using his head. And here's what he did. He had a cardboard box with an open top, and he put peanut butter in there, and he did a night vision camera, and it showed a steady stream of mice coming in and eating the peanut butter. There was like a hole cut in the side, and the mice would come in the hole, eat the peanut butter, leave, come in. It was a steady stream. The next night, he just placed a little peppermint oil inside the box, didn't touch restocked the peanut butter in there, put the peppermint oil down, and you saw the mice coming up to the hole and stopping. They wouldn't go in the box. And to me, it's obviously because of the peppermint, so that sold me. Okay. Stephen Gashi, hi Rob, like this video updated the Big Ten status, so I did understand correctly that the Yuma SKP RV park has storage parking for Winnebago, also is a big advantage to a fifth wheel over a longer bumper pull. Yeah, they said there was the ability to park my little trailer there when and if I become one of the leaseholders there. And the only reason I'm talking about a fifth wheel is on the used market of all the available trailers, bumper pulls, fifth wheels, the park models, the one that has the biggest inventory is fifth wheels, and the one with the biggest inventory is going to have the best prices. So that's why I'm saying fifth wheel. They're roomy. A bumper pull, depending on how big it is, I might be able to tow it short distances with my truck. A fifth wheel, I can't. My truck isn't big enough. Two, it doesn't have a fifth wheel hitch. So I would have to, when I buy it, I would have to pay somebody to deliver it to the park. but I wouldn't be moving it anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Destiny Cisco says, I don't see the dog food article reference. It's in the comments from the other day. It's not hard to do your own research on the issue was, is high fat diet good for a dog? And you'll see there was a serious study that was done about it, and it gives you all the reasons why high fat is can be detrimental to dogs' health, especially as they become senior dogs. Therefore, based on that, and based on the advice from my veterinarian, who I trust, buying as lean of beef as possible that I feed Dottie. Okay. The issue with ads is interesting. I've never seen ads. If you don't see ads, you can purchase the YouTube ad-free experience. It's a few dollars a month. Some people do that and don't see ads. So that's the only legitimate way you're not going to see ads, is going through YouTube and purchasing that perk. Other third-party solutions are an absolute violation of the terms of service if someone does a video showing people how to circumvent watching ads, they can and likely will lose their channel. And that includes people commenting on my channel telling people how to do that. I will delete those immediately if I see anything like that. Because I'm also responsible for the content in the comments on my channel. Cottywomple says a good minimal inverter generator can be had for $179 at Tractor Supply in Lake Havasu. 1,000 surge, 800 continuous. He means watts. Won't run fridges or things like that, but will keep your phone and other things charged. You can even run a crock pot or a coffee pot. Ken Gray says, ignorance is not knowing the names of the rulers in the world. Stupidity is tripping over the same step every day because you don't remember you tripped on it yesterday. I think true, with the exception of if you have a cognitive impairment where you can't remember, then it's circumstantial ignorance. And the great thing about ignorance is we make a mistake because we don't know, right? So the beauty of ignorance is we can turn ignorance into knowledge. Okay, so this is from Travels with Dottie, a pinned comment that says, do not discuss ways to avoid advertisement using third-party software. This is a violation of YouTube terms of service, and you can get my channel terminated. Any such comments will be deleted, and you will be blocked from further commenting. And yes, somebody did talk about it. So I'm like, oh my gosh. That's one of the top ways to lose your channel, is to encourage people to violate the terms of service for YouTube. It's a big no. Kathy Stevens says, always good to see you. Ken Gray says, a penny saved is by the way, thank you, Kathy. That was nice. Ken Gray says, a penny saved is a penny earned. Origins can be traced back to the 17th century. Judy, my buddy Judy, FYI, I had to turn the heater off last night. It was Judy's the one I got the diesel for her diesel heater. It was 81 degrees inside. I keep the thermostat at 46 degrees, but it heats up really fast and very warm. Can't sleep in the hay. In the cool mornings, it would be about 62 when I get up. I do love my heater, and thank you again for the diesel. The Four King. And I found out the Four King is actually kind of a trained culinary chef. Laughed out loud. I preferred imitation crab salad over the real crab salad. I tried it and have made multiple ways and always liked the imitation flavor better. Also, I have no preference on the video's narration or spontaneous driving. Safely is number one. I agree with that. Old Man 52, Rob, these dog food fads are to laugh at. I've raised my Irish Setters and Border Collies on moist and dry, science dog food since the 70s. They stayed healthy and had a lifespan of over 14 to 15 years. I have no doubt that's true. But what I'm doing, I don't consider a fad. I don't consider it something to laugh at. I think there's a lot of evidence that fresh certain vegetables and lean meat are very good, very healthy for your dog. And I don't consider it a fad or something silly. I just don't. But all the more power to you with your science diet. I'm glad your dogs lived long and happy lives. Ken Gray says, for the commercials, sometimes I get one every 10 minutes and occasionally one every 5. Usually one every 25 minutes. They either end after 5 seconds or you can skip. And I talked about that. That is, you can, YouTube provides a way for you, on most ads, a skip button will appear and you can click on that and it'll skip to the end of the ad. On some ads don't have that. I think the advertisers, probably pay extra for no skip, right? That's my guess. But that's a legitimate way. If you're concerned about ads on my videos, you're welcome to skip them, please. Susan B says, I like hearing you talk about what you see as you drive and what you're thinking about, what's going on with Quartzsite or what might be ahead in Quartzsite, your friends, and of course about Dottie and George. Sounds like I must be fond of chatting. You know, I released a video today that was me real-time chatting, and at the end of it I realized, I'm probably not going to do that again until the season's over, because there's so much traffic and you really need to pay close attention to what's going on around you, especially in town. So probably you'll see more videos of, you see the road scene and it's me talking in the background. After the fact, in editing, I do a voiceover. RV Life says, Happy New Year, Rob, Dottie, and George. DD Cornell, good morning, Mr. Rob, Dottie, and George. Dang, Mr. Rob, you get up early. Yeah, I get up kind of early. I go to bed early. Ken Gray, for the timestamp to work, I had mentioned it didn't work for me. Like someone does a timestamp and I click on it and I'm hoping that it'll jump to that timestamp in the video because I can see what they're referring to. For the timestamp to work, you have to be at the video. See, when I'm doing this comment video, I'm not in each individual video. There's a section where I can see all comments together. So that's the linchpin there. If you click from your comments, it just takes you to the video. Then you can click the timestamp on the comment to go to the mark in the video. I used to answer people's questions so they actually in the video when they click it. And I said, thank you, got it. And how do I put a timestamp in my comment? Katie says. I said, you just type it in. I did an example, and then she did one too, and said, yay, it worked. It worked. What was that noise you made, Dottie? HD Travel 1, Bobby Rock, I appreciate you. See you on the road, buddy. Greetings from Rapid City, South Dakota. Thank you. Naj, I wish to go to your meetup. Someday we'll be able to go to the queue and meet up with everyone. Susan B, I live in Maine where there are hundreds of thousands of forest acres, but aren't supposed to bring firewood into the state or even county you live in because there are invasive bugs all around that kill species of trees. Like the elm trees that used to be all around the country. Look at all the elm trees there are, but they all died because of Dutch elm disease. I read that dogs like zucchini, so I tried it on my dogs, and they do like it. Excellent. Thank you, Susan. Lisa Roth, sorry, says, love this, and this is the NBA star. Teaches second grade for a day. It's his dream to do that, and he had a blast doing it, and I bet the kids did too. Ken Gray says, a great article to bring a smile to your day. New Year's Day video, couple science, which is my friend Kathleen. Such a nice party smile, so sweet. Naj says, Rob, you're not ruling enough. Laugh out loud. I'm sorry to tell them they find it hard to restrain themselves from criticizing your driving. I have this simple advice. In all caps, don't watch. Please go to a channel that has perfect driving. That's all, folks. Let's see. Dandy Dan. Hi, Dot and Roddy. Just an observation in the form of sort of a metaphor. Complaining about a free YouTube video is like winning $100 and complaining it was in the form of a $100 bill instead of 520s. Shaking my head. Still digging your video, sir. Thank you, Dandy Dan. Jeremy Grandstaff says, love following your content while listening, I guess. Not a usually a fan of crab salad, but not a fishy taste. I might try it. Makes me want to buy a motorhome. Yeah, it doesn't taste fishy to me at all. Mike Benson says, just as I got to Quartzsite, I was exploring my surroundings, came across your rig, no truck. Must have been out making a video. If I go by and see you around, is it okay? Yeah, to stop by, sure. Just watch for a do not disturb videoing sign on the door. I put a big sign out there. And videoing doesn't mean making these videos. I can always pause a video like this. It's my counseling sessions that I have with patients. They're private, and there's really no professional good reason to interrupt a client, and it's very disruptive when people come up and knock on the door while I'm trying to do that, which is why I had this custom sign made. And that'll come up before the end here. Jeremy again says, sorry, YouTube accessibility does not let me like videos on my phone. I'm working on it as I would if I could. Well, thanks for the thought. I appreciate that. NBA star teaches second grade. RV Life says, love second grade too. New Year's Day, Mario Fuentes says real time is better versus the narration after the fact. Sue Brown says, love that you're a fellow Trekkie. For my 60th birthday a few years back, I was gifted a photo op and an autograph signing with Shatner when he was at an event in Minneapolis. I agree on Deep Space Nine and did enjoy the newer movies, though. I still have a snapshot of myself in junior high wearing the science officer uniform. So thanks for all the videos. Enjoyed them very much. Well, thanks, Sue Brown Chapin. All right. We have it's a double posting of that comment. I don't know. Sometimes YouTube, that's not you, Sue. YouTube does that occasionally. Hey, Rob and Dottie, two great minds think alike. I just sat down to eat my Big Mac meal, then turn your video back on just when you stopped at McDonald's. I'm like you and don't eat there often, but once every few weeks or months, I got to have a Big Mac meal. You also said there's only one pharmacy in Quartzsite. There's no Walgreens or CVS. Ouch. Then where or how far do you have to travel to get your prescriptions? Have a great day. All right. So there's a Rite Aid in Blythe, and in Walmart there's a CVS. In Parker there's a Walmart and CVS. All right, Mario Fuentes. Rob, thanks again for the information. And you're welcome. Haas 1003. Hey, Robin, Dottie, and George, in your diesel pickup video, you compared your propane heater to your neighbor's diesel heater. What brand of propane heater do you use? Was it hard to install? Do you have an installation video? Thanks for the great videos. I just pointed him to my big heating video that's got like 35,000 views. I put a link in there for that so you can see that. Virginia Hankey says, I love Jimmy Carter. I thought he was a great president. I know he ran into controversy when he asked people to put a sweater on and turn their heat down. That's during the energy crisis in the 70s. Yeah, that's too big a sacrifice to turn your thermostat down and put on a sweater. People were mad at him for that. Times have changed. The things that he did for humanity, particularly Habitats for Humanity, was excellent. He exuded goodness. He did. Good man. Leezer44 Rob, both formats seem fine to me, as I really didn't notice until the end of the video, so I definitely take the easier route. Question, over the holidays I watched One Road to Quartzsite, Nomad Land, and Happy Campers with my family, and said it all seemed so sad with all the poverty and addiction shown. Do you think Quartzsite has changed for the worse over the past few years? Absolutely not. You know what? I said, I see no trace of poverty and addiction, although those things exist in almost every community, but they are not obvious here. Drama sells, right? Drama sells. And I'll never understand. I don't know these other things. I know Nomadland was a great movie that won Oscars, and there are people that watch that movie and they say, "Oh, it was sad and depressing." It's like, what? Did we see the same movie? It was uplifting. It was a woman's journey of her husband died, the town she was living in died, she lost everything, and she ended up in a place of peace and joy at the end of the movie. That's not a sad ending. That's a good ending. So people really, you take the filters with which you watch things. We all do. And some people have a skeptical kind of filter that they see things through. These other things, happy campers, one road to Quartzsite, I don't know what that's about. Are there some homeless people that appear to be homeless? It's hard to tell out here. I'm homeless. I'm houseless, right? But there are people that, are there people on the corner of McDonald's asking for handouts? Yeah. Are there dangerous looking homeless encampments? Not that I've ever seen. Are there drug addicts selling drugs behind the grocery store? No, I've never seen anything like that. So I think people that suggest that poverty and addiction, I don't see signs of that. Certainly there are people in Quartzsite has a very low median income. There's a lot of there is a lot of technical poverty in Quartzsite, but I mean, I don't see evidence that people are really, really seriously suffering and can't get food, or it's just not front and center when you're here in Quartzsite. And there's a wonderful food bank here that support people that are in poverty, that are in Quartzsite. And one of the encampments here, the Q camp that I've mentioned before, and I've gone out there and talked, every year they fundraise for the food bank. There are other nomad organizations, I say that real loosely, groups of people that support the food bank. And it's a wonderful thing. I love Quartzsite. I love everything about it. I love the people that I meet here. I love the locals that I meet. Please don't go by just what other people tell you. Come out and try it for yourself. Betty says, it amazes me that people find the need to offer their unsolicited advice, parentheses, criticism. Patience of a saint you have. No wonder you're successful at your well-chosen profession. I have a Ford also, and people tell me to cover my keypad all the time. Just, if I unlock my car on camera, people just, they can't, some people just can't stop from scolding me for doing that. That's unsolicited advice. That's not, unsolicited advice. It's not usually welcome. Think about, people that tell you what you're doing wrong in your life without you asking, and how that feels. Doesn't feel good. Yellowstone fiction becomes real. That's a positive news story. Betty says, that's great news. Finger crossed that all public land stays public. And the NBA star teaches second grade. She says those kids will remember that day for the rest of their lives. This is awesome. Regina Hankey says, in regards to wondering what is going to be built, an old English saying is wait and see pudding and don't ask me sauce. I guess she doesn't like it that I'm wondering what a building is that's going up in Quartzsite. I'm not alone. There are a lot of people wondering what this unusual structure is going to be used for. Paul Owen has a long one here. I've tried to keep up with your Quartzsite comments. Perhaps you've already covered this question, so I apologize but missed the episode. My question is about dumping black and gray water. I understand the procedures for dumping at the LTVA, but I wonder about BLM areas. That's the 14-day free areas where I plan to stay for a couple of weeks. Is there a fee that one can pay to the LTVA just for dumping? No, there's not. I wonder if local septic honey wagons make RV house calls. They do. You can Google it. You can find them. I think there's one called Ironwood. Also, you can just go into town. There's on Central Boulevard, which is 95, north of Main Street. There's RV Pit Stop on the right. You can't miss it. You can pay to dump and pay to fill with water and propane. And then up the road a little further, I can't think of the name of it, but there's a newer one on the left up there. And it's not terribly expensive. Kristen washes. I'm not going to try it. Too many. I can't parse it. You're one of the good ones. You always look out for your friends. Well, thank you, Chris. Chris and two Shih Tzus. I guess Shih Tzus are dogs, right? C.S. Smith, Happy New Year. Tell us the temperature in Cube, please. Okay. It's 43. Mick Hart, nice meeting you and Dottie today. I was the guy on the bicycle that pulled up next to you. Oh, thanks. That was a very friendly guy. Pamela Knoll, I like real time, probably even backseat driving. Feels like I'm in the back seat. I was in Yuma for 5 months with friends in 2019, and so you're a real treat for me. So I'm liable to think I've spent winter 2025 in Quartzsite. I was there once in 2019, 6 years ago. This is a really old video on a Cuddy CUD router for cellular internet. How many users does this Cuddy router take? I haven't got a clue. This was a very old video. I would just, Google it. Google Cuddy router. How many users? Look at the specs. I can't help you there. Sorry. I can't parse that name. It's L-U long animism. I don't know. Okay. So this guy's screen name is Just Making Observations, which I guess is a way of saying he criticizes people online. He says, Happy New Year. Love the channel. By the way, you should never put diesel in a red gas container. Gas goes in red. Diesel goes in yellows. I don't care. I don't really care. I'm sorry. This is not the only person that has scolded me for filling a red gas can with diesel. I don't care. You shouldn't care. You're not with me. You have nothing to do with me. Just stop. Okay? This circumstance this wasn't my container. It was my friend's, and I was doing someone a favor by picking up a gallon of diesel for them with their container. I don't have control over the color. I get it why they do different colors, right? But I don't need unsolicited advice like that and criticizing the behavior that you see on screen. Watch another channel, man. Really, please. Naj says you're not drooling enough. I'm not. I think that's a joke about I was making. I was using a handkerchief to pat my mouth because it felt like drool was coming out, and I joked that somebody will probably complain about that. Loop is promising current. Ellen says I really hope. And this person, five-toed lizard, says I hope you're licensed. That's what we call passive-aggressive behavior. I probably talked about my counseling sessions. So five-toed lizard is suggesting that I'm basically a criminal, which it is a crime, a misdemeanor in most states, to masquerade as a counselor and practice counseling without a license. So five-toed lizard, your comment is not welcome here. And it would be none of your business whether I am licensed or not. But for the rest of you, of course I'm licensed. I've been a counselor for over 20 years, and I happen to be licensed in multiple states. And no, I don't knowingly go out and break the law. Five-toed lizard, my favorite thing to do with this is hide user from channel. I got to tell you, it is disheartening to these kinds of negative comments. Maybe it's just a mood that I'm in today to see that, but just to even suggest that I'm breaking the law and I'm a illegitimate counselor. Just think about if you were a professional and you were talking about your profession and someone said, well, I certainly hope you're licensed, or I certainly hope you're competent, and not doing that incompetently is, by anyone's definition, is an aggressive insult. And it happens to be passive, because he would just say, hey, I'm just asking a question. And that is the battle cry of people that are passively aggressive and intend harm. Not cool. All right, so do we have anything else? Jeremy Graham said, YouTube fixed the liking issue. Hope laundry went well and you make such a difference in your work. Thank you, Jeremy. Now that's the opposite, right? So Jeremy's suggesting that, hey, maybe I'm a good counselor. Maybe he's a good counselor. Maybe he might even be licensed and practicing legally. Thank you, Jeremy. And that transformed. I was actually thinking, well, do I want to end this video on such a negative thing? And I hit refresh, and there's Jeremy's positive opposite. So you know what the reality is? 99% of my commenters and viewers have supportive, beautiful, nice, kind things to say. And I'm going to focus on that today. And the ones that have nasty things to say, you just click hide from channel. It's a wonderful thing. And I'm going to close the video on a positive note. Don't forget, if you're in town, the meetup is going to be on the 14th at 1 p.m. And it's at the dog park. And if you go and you find the dog parks, there's actually 3 separate fenced off areas for small, medium, and large dogs. And closest to the road is the small dog one, then the medium, then the large. Go all the way to the large dog one and look in front of you. There's a big picnicking area with a big cover over it. That's where I'll be, and that's where Herbie will be with My Nomadic Dream. And if you haven't checked him out, check out his channel. I'll put a link in the description. Subscribe if you're not subscribed to him. Subscribe to him. Get to know him, because you'll like, I want to meet this guy if you watch his videos. He's a great guy. So do yourself a favor. If you're going to come and you don't know his channel, get on there, get to know him, and you'll be excited about meeting both of us. And Dottie will be there. Right, Dottie? Sleeping. Take care, and I'll see you tomorrow.